Right then, this is a quick walk around video, and this is for a really lovely looking car. It's a 1.4 SI Civic, 2010 as you can see here, with just 53,000 miles on the clock. This particular vehicle has got a wonderful Honda service history attached to it, finished in this really lovely metallic blue, which looks fantastic on the car. It's a particularly sought after colour, so I'm trying to get my shadow out of the way for you. But it really does look fabulous on the vehicle. The car itself is in really lovely condition. If I come around onto the bonnet first, try and keep my shadow away. It's a lovely sunny day, but doesn't help the videos unfortunately. The bonnet itself is incredibly clean, hardly a stone chip anywhere to be seen. Lights and lenses are completely clear and intact. No damage, condensation or otherwise on those at all. If I come around to the near side of the car first, I can squat down here. This is the only side that's got something on it, which I will show you. It's the whole point of doing the videos. But the panel work is wonderfully clean. It really is. Front ring again, really nice and tidy and clean. Front alloy on the near side, which is the one that's going to be the most obvious candidate for getting curbed. It's got a tiniest little bit, generally very good. So the only thing on this car, I'm going to point it out to you because this was just coming in the part exchange to us. Obviously given the wing mirror a bit of a biff because it's got some tape just there suspending it. The wing mirror works, the actual electric adjustment up and down and back in and out on the actual wing mirror itself and the reflector work exactly as they should. So it's just that the top folding mechanism there's obviously been given a bit of a biff. The panels here are absolutely wonderfully clean. Come around the back of the car, parking sensors fitted as well. The back of the car is in beautiful condition. Moving around to the off side of the car, try that the sun doesn't blind us, but again, just wonderfully clean in the panels. The offside alloy absolutely unmarked. Turn the camera around this way, then hopefully get the glare from the sun on there. I mean, I'm sure if you look really closely, there will be the odd minor, tiny little mark, but I mean, they are very few and far between. And offside front wheel, again, very clean, with just the tiniest little bit of curbing just on the outside edge there. But overall, looking at a very sought after little car in really lovely condition. Just going to the boot area now. Absolutely huge boots, and it's been kept in really lovely condition. Got 60/40 fold on the rear seats there. And you get the little cubby hole under there, which you can increase the depth of the boot there as well. Coming to the back of the car here, I've just got the seats in their raised position. This forms part of this absolutely ingenious magic seat affair. It just is such a clever design. There's a full set of so the rear mats there, really lovely condition. If you want to pop those down, by the way, just pull the lever up. It's all beautifully engineered, of course, and they just pop down as simply as that. With the seats down, you can see just how much leg room you get in these Civics, and bear in mind the seats are in the position where I sit, and I'm 6 foot tall, so it's actually not as good as it can be. Half leather interior, again in fantastic condition. Coming to the front, again, all been kept really nicely, and as I say in the road test video, we haven't even cleaned the car yet, it's just been kept so well. Driver's door card again, been kept wonderfully, and then driver's seat itself, again, absolutely super condition. So inside the car now, engine's running through this section so you can see the dashboard illuminated. The dashboard is in absolutely beautiful condition, all working exactly as it should. Air conditioning pumps out lovely cold air, but it's just been kept really nicely, this car. Then come across to the dashboard binnacle, just pan in there for you, hopefully you can see that. 53,287 miles, there's no warning lights on the dashboard at all. And that basically is your view from the driver's seat, and it's just a wonderful dashboard. But so the video is not going to do justice to this car, it's just absolutely fantastic in here. Just to quickly show you, owner's manual pack, and very importantly, locking wheel nut key is here with the vehicle. Finally, just to come under this wonderfully presented engine bay, fantastic little VTEC engine, more of which in the following road test video. Right then, this is a quick road test video, and this is for a Honda Civic 1.4 SI. This particular car is registered YF10RZR, and mileage at the start of the road test is 53,281 miles. The reason for doing the road test is simply so customers of ours actually get to see vehicles in operation. That way, if there's any issues on the car relating to the mechanicals or otherwise, we can relay them back to you. We're very, very well aware that many of our customers are now coming from vast distances to come and see our cars. So we feel the least we can do is actually do this critical video. Clearly, with a car that's been as well looked after as this one, you'd expect it to drive well, and obviously it does. Engine starts absolutely instantly, settles to a completely smooth, even idle. They pull beautifully all the way through the rev range, these cars. They really do. It's just a very typical Honda engine in that respect. There's no warning lights on the dashboard at all relating to the engine or any other part of the vehicle for that matter. But the engines are, they're not only are they incredibly reliable and tough, they last hundreds of thousands of miles with just normal servicing, but they're obviously incredibly fuel efficient as well. Getting up to 50 to the gallon is relatively easy in these, especially on a long trip. Even just pottering around, you'd be sort of mid-40s or so. But it's just such a lovely, tractable, easy engine to operate. It really is, and use. Engine then feeds through clutch and into gearbox of the vehicle. Clutch on the car, smooth, positive in actuation. Bike point is exactly where it should be in one of these cars, so all in very, very fine order. Clutch then feeds through into the Honda 6-speed manual gearbox, and again, typical Honda box. It's absolutely brilliant. The quality of gear shift is second to none. It's just a lovely gearbox. It's a gearbox basically that the manufacturer has taken care to give the operator sort of driver involvement and pleasure. Quite often you find that front wheel drive gearboxes can be because they're basically cables running from here through to the gearbox in front, but they can be quite vague or lifeless, whereas these are the absolute opposite of that. They've got a real mechanical integrity to them. The quality of the gear change is absolutely brilliant. I can't detect anywhere in this gearbox at all. It just the gear changes are smooth, positive, and very, very precise indeed. So basically, in terms of powertrain of the vehicle, all in very, very fine order. Steering on these Civics is a real strong point on them, and they're very, very positive, and it's perfectly tuned to the chassis of the vehicle as well. It's no good having direct, quick power steering, only to find that the chassis is sort of loose and wallowy. This again, just brilliantly done. It's the steering just turns, the car goes straight with it. It's just a really, really lovely dynamic car to drive, and perfectly comfortable on road surfaces like this. Only sort of potholes are going to catch a thing out. What I'm looking for on road test with the steering and the chassis, of course, is just any signs of wear that might be sort of coming up through the vehicle, but there's nothing at all. It tracks absolutely bullet straight. There's no vibrations coming back to the steering wheel at all on the vehicle, so all in very, very fine order. Chassis, again, what I'm listening out for is when it goes over bumps, and notably there's one coming up now which is probably the biggest on the test drive route, just there. It's just to see if there's any kind of rattles or anything coming from underneath that shouldn't be there. That's normally things like little drop links on the suspension or anti-roll bar links where there might be a bit of play in a rubber bush, but there's nothing on this. It drives sensationally well without any noises at all. There's also just such a lovely dynamic car to drive. It's genuinely good fun. They really are. You can see why they're so popular with people who may have families now who might have had quite a sporty car in the past, where they just still want that sense of engagement with the vehicle, something that they can have just a bit of fun with, and that's where these really come into their own. But they're just lovely to cruise along in as well. Very quiet, very subdued in here. Facelift versions have got extra sound deadening and all sorts. brakes on the car. Just going to give them a sharp jab. Good solid brake pedal. There's no vibrations or pulsing coming back through the brake pedal at all on the vehicle. So all in very good order. What I'm looking for is just to see if there's any kind of, whether it's pulling left or right for balance, but also whether there's any kind of, say, sort of juddering coming back through the brake pedal. And there's absolutely nothing on this one. It's exactly as it should be. But you know, as I said before, given the history of the car, I'd expect it to be good, and it definitely is. Looking around inside the vehicle, I mean, it's literally just come into us and not been cleaned, but it doesn't need cleaning. It's in beautiful condition in here. Brilliantly made car. You know, forget the fact that, you know, they do use some hard plastics in them, which are actually quite tough, by the way. And that's not to the detriment. Build quality isn't about that. It's about how they assemble them, and that's why there's no creaks, rattles, or anything for the interior of this car. I mean, it's just a beautifully assembled car, and this is real world build quality. It's not making it look well built, but actually not being that well assembled. This is what build quality is all about. Also happens to be, in my opinion, and it is only an opinion, you know, by far and away the most interesting dashboard in its class. It's lovely to use, it's simple, it's ergonomically really good. You know, there's a couple of scattered switches, which, you know, you always will get, but generally speaking, what a view you got. I mean, what I love more than anything else is this two-tier design. So you've got the gauges that you most readily use, like your information up on the top left there for radio and climate control. Then your speedo, digital speedo, which I'm looking at the car in front and at the corner of my eye, clearly seeing the speed I'm doing without taking my eyes off the road even for a second. I mean, it's just genius. Down below that, a more conventional pod, but with a big dominating rev counter flanked by the temperature and fuel gauge. Temperature gauge, by the way, running at a third, which is exactly where it should be on a Honda car. All the pixelation, all the readouts working exactly as they should. As with all facelift models from, it was actually the 2010 model, but there was a couple registered in 2009. They should have this sort of carbon fibre look-alike trim down here. This replaced the very shiny plastic. It looked lovely, really nice, but it used to mark rather easily. So Honda changed it to this plastic on there now, which is much harder wearing in terms of kind of maintaining the sort of the sharpness of the dashboard, if you like. But it's just a brilliant dashboard to look at, and at night, you know, I'm a real sucker for this kind of thing. When it's illuminated, it is brilliant. It just looks fantastic. But as I always maintain, it is divisive in terms of, some people hate it, some people love it, and clearly I'm in the camp that loves these interiors. But it just works wonderfully. It really does, and it's a breath of fresh air because it's actually rather interesting. But all working beautifully and just feels like new to drive. The whole car does. As I said at the start of the video, the point of these videos is actually to be critical of them, of the car. So if there's something not quite right, we don't want you travelling sometimes hours, days even, to come see our cars just to find out there's a fundamental problem that you should have been told about. There's nothing on this car at all. It drives absolutely perfectly. Having said that, if there's any questions you need answering, then please don't hesitate. Do give us a call. We'll happily answer any questions you might have.